from the studios of Hub Radio Phoenix, it's the Jay Lawrence Show. Now, here's Jay.
I am so glad you're here. Thank you so much for letting us be part of your evening. I am really pleased. I hope we can make it worthwhile for you. And I know we can with our guest, Anthony Kern, former representative. He and I served together in the House of Representatives, and I am so glad you're here, Tony.
I'm glad to be here, Jay.
A little bit about your background, I think, is important. Law enforcement has been an important part of your career. You've been a law enforcement officer. You're not doing that now, but you are authorized. You are certified.
Certified, yeah. I was a law enforcement officer in Tombstone, Arizona, as a reserve marshal, deputy reserve marshal, reserve deputy.
You look good in uniform.
Oh, thank you, buddy. And I'm gonna, try to see what I can do to maybe go back. But right now we're just so busy with the Senate campaign. It's hard to get all, juggle all that stuff. So.
Tony is running for state senate. He is running against Paul Boyer, and we're going to talk about that. Your district is a very Republican district, is it not?
It was Republican by about 13 percentage points just a few years ago. It has dwindled down. The demographics are changing. It has went down to about, I would say, 6 percentage points Republican over Democrat. It's the independents in the district that really will make the vote usually.
Tony, you know what I worry about? The people who are moving here from Chicago, from California, moving here from very liberal districts, and they're coming in, and they left those communities because those communities went bad, and they said, well, I'll just go to a conservative community and see if I can screw them up.
Yeah. I hope that's not the reason why they're coming over here is to screw us up, but just on my own block in the last election on my own street, I noticed several people moving in, new people, and several of them were from California, and a couple of them had put Biden signs up in their yard, and I'm thinking, why would you move here from California and come over here and vote the same way? I don't know how much of that might be coercion or planned, and how much of that is actually people leaving a blue state to come to a red state and with the intent on voting the same way. That just doesn't make sense.
You've been endorsed by Donald Trump. I think it's important to bring that up.
Oh, absolutely, and that happened on July 22nd of 2021. President Trump had mentioned my name in one of his Save America statements, and I was very honored to get just a mention. And I'm hoping that he'll help our campaign as we move forward. I just want I want to do what is right for the people of Arizona, for the people of Legislative District 20, and I believe what the people want, what the media does not want you to know. I think the people want election integrity in our elections, and I don't believe that there's one senator holding out on that, and I'm gonna defeat him in the primary.
Let's talk about the audit. I mean, if we're going to discuss legitimacy in an election, the audit is covering that. Now, I haven't heard from cyber ninjas, but I think we will. Where you were in there.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Sure. So there was a call for, in every LD, there was a call by the LD chair to volunteer to help in the election audit at the Coliseum. And I had seen the email, and I thought, okay, that's great. They're asking for volunteers. I never even considered going down there. So many of you know my wife is from Honduras. She's a U.S. citizen, originally from Honduras.
And charming.
She's a very charming lady. I love my wife, Jenny. Hello, Jenny. She came to me. I was sitting on the couch, and she came to me, and she said, boy, I would sure like to go get involved in this audit. And anytime a smart husband, anytime your wife comes to you and sits down and says, boy, I'd like to sure do something, that's code for, and I'd like you to come with me. And so I'm like, okay, sure, let's go ahead and do it. She wanted to see the process of an audit. It's never been done before. It's historic. and she wanted to see the process. So I said, sure, I'll go with you. I'll let's do it together. So we did, and then the media caught wind of it, and they doxed me, and it's still a national, if not international, picture of me in a blue T-shirt at the ballot wheel. But in reality,
why were they so angry about you being there?
well, their assumption was, well, the lies of the media, and we all know that they absolutely lie. The lie is that we were changing ballots down there.
Right.
And the reality is probably none of those reporters ever even went down to the audit. Anybody that's talking negative about the audit has probably not ever been there to see what the process is. And in that particular instance, I mean, we couldn't even touch a ballot. If a ballot was to fall off onto the table, we put our hands up, and the person that actually was authorized to handle the ballots would come over and put the ballot back up. So we were not even authorized to touch the ballots. Now, I want to also say that it was a vetting process, and as you know, Jay, I don't hide who I am. I mean, you can look at my Twitter feed, you can look at my Facebook page. I recently signed up for Getter. So you by my votes.
You're a former state representative,
right?
And that's important,
right? And so what you follow me. I'm a transparent guy. So the whole lie behind the election audit, it's still a lie. I want to tell you, Doug Logan down there is doing a fantastic job. I want to give a shout out to him, Randy Pullum, Mr. Bennett. I mean, Karen Fan, Warren Peterson.
What happened? Bennett resigned, and the next day came back.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to speak to Bennett, and I'm trying to reach Karen Fan.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened there? Do you have any idea?
Just what the rumor mill had. There was a few rumors about there was actually some switching of positions down there. And from what I had heard, there was a kind of a new. They were auditing the audit. Now this is just speculation. I have not asked Karen Fan or anybody. This is just what I've heard, that they were auditing the audit. There was a new group in charge of the second audit of the audit, and they were not allowed to allow anybody in the auditing area, and Ken Bennett was not allowed in there, but he's back. He's a great man. He's doing a great job.
He's an honorable man.
He's an honorable man. So is Doug Logan. So is Randy Pullum. Honorable people. I trust him to the fullest. They're not down there doing any shenanigans. They are down there to get to the truth. And it's just been a roller coaster ride of the Republicans in the county supervisors, a Republican in the state Senate. I mean, they're just stalling every step of the way. And it's sad that more people aren't rising up and protesting and saying, we want to know what happened. If Biden won, Biden won. We just want to make sure Biden won. And I think we all know in our heart of hearts, what's funny about the election audit, Jay, is that we are saying the same thing the Democrats said 4 years ago. Look at the tapes, guys. 4 years ago, the Democrats were on the Senate floor saying Dominion, you can hack into Dominion machines. The election.
That's what they said then.
That's what they said 4 years ago. And now, when it's Trump, they're all saying, "Oh, the election was the most secure election ever." That's a lie. It has not been the most secure election ever.
You know what's aggravating is the fact that the media there were 74,000 plus votes, more votes than there were envelopes for.
Right.
And the media, newspapers, television, don't see anything wrong with it, and they're trying to find ways to explain that rather than say, well, that's interesting. Gosh, how did that happen?
Right. And we can't consistently blame the media, and we should blame the media. But we are dealing with a Republican majority in the Board of Supervisors. And we had a Republican governor.
That comes as a surprise when you look at their support of the audit.
Right. I mean, we're battling Republicans, Republican governor that should not have certified the election. I get that you just want it to move on, but I was in that 11-hour hearing with Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis, and
Right.
Mark Fincham led it, and I was in that hearing. I sat there for 11 hours that day, and I'll tell you, I was convinced that day that there's enough evidence out there that something happened. The fact that Secretary of State Katie Hobbs shut down the Secretary of State that night, why would you do that? That has never been done before. Why would you shut down and stop counting ballots? Oh, the workers wanted to go home. Well, too bad, so sad. Those workers were paid to count ballots that night, paid by our tax dollars. The fact that she shut down that office tells me something was going on, and we need 100% audit of this election. Again, if Biden won, okay, but I don't think he won, and I think Trump won, honestly. And I do think there was a lot of shenanigans that have went on, and I do think what they said at the rally today in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is they basically murdered our vote, and they basically took our vote and gave it away. And so that has got to stop in order to save this country. I hear candidates out there on the campaign trail. They'll stand up and they'll say, I voted for every election integrity bill in the legislature in this last session. Well, that's great. Rah. But laws that are already on the books, Jay, were not being followed. So what good does it do to create more law if the current ones are not being followed? So for a candidate to step up and say, I voted for election integrity bills in the last legislature, I'm glad you did, and thank God you did. I'm glad you did. But unless we get the 2020 election under control, what's to say they're not going to steal the 2022 election? What's to say they're not going to steal the 2024 election? I mean, people are going to stay home and not vote if they don't know that their vote counts.
I believe that today there is an upsurge of conservative thought in America. I believe that people are angry. They're angry about the COVID, and we'll talk about that. They're angry about the election integrity. There is a lot of anger.
Yeah.
And I think that will show up in the next election.
Yeah. Well, the next election, it is in our favor there because of the guy in the White House and the party that's in control in the U.S. Congress, House and Senate. I do think it's in our favor, but again, if we don't fix the 2020 election, I don't know. One thing Trump has done, and I love President Trump, greatest president we've ever had. I will stand by him. Honestly, I've never personally met the guy, but I can say when he would speak across the airwaves when he was president, it was like he was speaking to me directly. He was there for me. He was there for you. One thing he has done in this last presidency, not only fulfill every promise, but he has absolutely exposed what has been going on in this country for the past 30, 40 years. We have all known that elections have been stolen in the past. I remember in the Bush-Gore era, back in the year 2000, when there was a congressional district, I think it was in Ohio, where there were more votes cast than voters. And I thought to myself, how does that happen? We've all known dead people have voted for years and years.
Well, that's happened in this election as well.
Right. We've all known dead people have voted for years and years. How does that happen? There's not enough to turn over an election. Well, how do you know that? How do you know that enough dead people are voted to not turn over this election? Until we get to 100% audit, we don't know that. So for somebody to say, well, yeah, okay, there was 30-some thousand dead people that voted, but that's not enough to turn over the election. How do you know?
I've got to take a break. I've met Donald Trump. He's a guy that I would play poker with. Just one of those people.
He would beat you, Jay.
Oh, absolutely.
He would beat you.
He's got the money to bluff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Except that he's that kind of person that you would let's go get a beer or something like that. He's a man's guy, an honorable man.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tony Kern is our guest. I'm Jay Lawrence, and I'm glad you're here today. This is a commercial for an auto dealership. Well, not really. It's a commercial for a salesperson at an auto dealership. The dealership is Wright Toyota on Frank Lloyd Wright. The salesperson is Jason Carter. I want you to remember that name, Jason Carter. My wife and I have bought our last 6 autos from him. I've sent relatives and friends to see Jason at Wright Toyota. If you're financing, Jason will work with the finance department to get you the lowest payments. Jason, here's what you're looking for. He knows what's there on the grounds. He knows where to find the exact automobile for which you're looking. And there's no time limit to his service, so there's no insistence that you buy the automobile he shows you. If it's a new Toyota or a formerly owned auto, any brand, any label, please call Jason Carter, 480-299-6474. Jason Carter, 480-299-6474.
When it comes to roof work, people ask, do you know a guy? Let me save you a little time and money. Call me. I'm Lori Clark, owner of Right Way Roofing. Our family started in the roofing business in 1963 on the promise, there's only one way, the right way. We protect your roof with thick, waterproof, rubberized asphalt, not felt paper. So when it's time to repair or replace your roof and you need a guy, I'm your girl.
We're Right Way Roofing and we do it right. We'll always keep you watertight.
Hello, Arizona. This is State Senate candidate Anthony Kern, District 20. And when I'm out fighting the woke culture in Arizona, I like to listen to the truth. I like to listen to the real scoop. And therefore, I listen to Hub Radio Phoenix, and you should too.
You have a great business, terrific products, outstanding services. So where is everybody? It's simple. They don't know you're here. Why not? We didn't tell them. Well, let me introduce you to the Media Maven. She is the expert in getting your advertising message to the right people in the right places for the right prices. She can make your business a household name. She can make this claim because she's been doing this for years for large and small businesses. You need an expert who knows who to talk to and how to make the best deal for your business. She has the right radio and television contacts for your budget, whatever it is. That's Kathy, the Media Maven. She can put you on the map, the one that leads to success and prosperity. Call Kathy, the Media Maven, at 602-524-0947. That's Kathy, the Media Maven, at 602-524-0947.
You're watching Jay Lawrence on Hub Radio Phoenix.
And I am so glad you're here tonight. Thank you for letting us be part of your television viewing. Our guest is Anthony Kern. We've got so many subjects. Let's go to COVID-19.
Okay.
It's today. It's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
The government wants to step in and make COVID-19 testing mandatory. So many governments, California, now you've got a New York governor who just resigned, and we'll deal with that also. But
And an Arizona State Senator that just resigned. Mr. Tony Neverready.
Oh, he didn't. His resignation, I've known Tony a long time. Of course, so have you.
Tony Neverready, yeah.
And I just, I didn't read the full story. I think it dealt with young ladies,
Young men.
young men.
Yeah. We can talk about that when we talk Mr. Cuomo.
Right, okay. The COVID-19
Yeah.
mandate, I oppose government mandates at most things.
Yeah.
And this is one where the government should just leave it alone. Let the states decide.
Mm-hmm.
Let individual parents decide, do I want my child to be tested? Your thoughts?
Yeah, so anytime the government mandates anything, we live in a free country, and anytime the government mandates anything, we've got to question it. Now, people out there will say, well, the polio vaccine and all these other vaccines of the past that we've all had, and we've all had to go to school and get the shots, and and that. But this is different, and it's a different time. This is a time where we do not trust our government, and we do not. And there's world players in this. So I think one thing President Trump did do that I think he questions whether it was a right choice or not, and I question whether it was a right choice or not, and that is shutting down the country and forcing people to wear masks. And I know he allowed the governors to do a lot of that, which our governor did, as we all know. But as far as the government mandating the COVID or mandating the vaccines, that's absolutely wrong. That's taken right out of the Marxist, socialist, Nazi playbook. And it's got to go down to personal choice. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you want to get vaccinated, by all means. If you got to question everything going on, and that is Fauci. He's flip-flopped on so many issues. The CDC has flip-flopped on so many issues. You're looking at, why would you get a vaccine and have to still wear a mask? I mean, when we got the polio vaccine, I've never gotten polio. I've never had TB. I've never had, all this stuff because I got the vaccine. But in this instance, you get the vaccine, the shot, the first one. You get the second one. Yet you're still mandated to wear a mask because you're still going to get COVID.
Now they're talking about a third.
A third one.
Right.
And now they're talking, are you kidding me?
Right.
So something's wrong here. Why would you take a vaccine and yet be forced to wear a mask?
There is also something wrong with a vaccine that is not backed by those who created it. The government has given them a pass. If something happens because of the vaccine, you're not allowed to sue them. You can't do anything to recoup a
that's
loss.
insane. Yeah,
Unreal.
Everything in our world is all about money, and so these companies, Pfizer and whatever they are, they make money off these vaccines. When you see a sign on the side of the road that said "free vaccine," there's money that's changing hands there. It's not, the vaccine might be free for me, but somebody's getting paid by somebody else's dollars, and I would assume those are tax dollars that are going out. So, the bottom line is again, why would you get a vaccine and then still be mandated to wear a mask and still get the COVID? Why get the vaccine? Why put something in your body? Now, on the flip side of that, Trump at the rally in Phoenix said he got the vaccine. He thinks everybody should get the vaccine. So, but he said he understands it's a personal choice. I've got people in my district that are conservative people that wear masks, that have gotten the vaccine, that are afraid of COVID. I don't want to just say this is a Republican-Democrat issue. There are legitimate people that are conservative people. There's legitimate people that are Democrat people. And I say legitimate, they're not polarizing. Right. They're not far right, far left. They're ordinary folk that are afraid of COVID. But we see that COVID negatively affects those with ailments already. I do not trust the numbers out there. We've all heard of the cases where, a person has heart disease, they get COVID, they die of the heart disease, but it's labeled COVID. Again,
right.
It's all about the money. They get paid more.
You have always been in favor of limiting government.
Absolutely.
I think that's an important part of this.
Absolutely. Personal choice. Let's look at what's happening right now. The governor says he is not going to mandate vaccines. He's not going to mandate mask wearing. Great. I appreciate that, Governor Ducey. That's a good position to take. But the school boards now have turned around and said, we're going to mandate mask wearing to protect children. The Phoenix Union School District has already said that. So there has been a letter sent to the governor, I think signed by 23 or 27, 20-some legislators, current members of the legislature, that say these school districts should be withheld of funds. I agree with that, but I got a call today from a conservative that said this person disagrees with the governor's decision and says, okay, we're not going to mandate masks. We're going to allow districts to make their own choice, which is fine. I agree with that. If a district wants to mandate masks, that's fine. But let's take that a step further and boil it down to what you just said, Jay: personal freedom, personal choice. If I'm a parent and I want to take my children to a school where they are mandating masks, I should be able to pull my kid out of a school that says it's optional, we're not going to make you wear a mask, and put them over to a school that says we are going to make, and vice versa. It boils down to choice. So a parent ought to be, if Phoenix Union School District wants to mandate masks, that's their prerogative. It's tax dollars that are being spent there, and it's all about money. So as you pull your kids out of school, you should be able to pull them out and put them into a school that does not require mandated masks. What that's going to do, number one, it's going to remove the tax dollars from that school and put it over here, which I think should open up the floodgates for parental choice for schools. Parents, we need to open up parental choice. Parental choice in schools, I think, would solve the critical race theory problem. It will solve the mandated mask problem. It will bring competition. It will force these schools to become better. So if we could, in Arizona, open up the floodgates and say, parents, you take your kids wherever you want, and your tax dollars are going to follow you.
Tony, you mentioned critical race theory.
Yeah.
We have discussed that on the show many times.
Yeah.
In fact, Tom Horn was one of the first people that fought that. How can you, as a state senator, fight that?
Well, we've already passed a law, I think in the last legislature, where critical race theory is banned from schools, but these schools are getting around that. And I can give you an example. There's a school in the West Valley. I'm dealing with a parent right now. A charter school in the West Valley that, for extra credit, has basically told these students, and these are 10-year-olds, you can write for extra credit, you can write an essay on social issues of the day, like Black Lives Matter. So 2 students that I know of the same family, they wrote an essay. They're very conservative, their parents, and the kids are real conservative. But politics really shouldn't be in the school. They should teach them reading, writing, arithmetic.
Right.
But, so these 2 students, one wrote about Black Lives Matter, and in their essay actually said that conservatives should be put in concentration camps and reprogrammed.
Oh.
That was in the essay. This other kid of the same family said, I support Donald Trump, I support conservatism, and all the above. This student that supported Donald Trump was actually taken to the principal's office and questioned and received a failing grade. This student...
really happened?
This really happened. I'm a private investigator. I run a private investigation business. This parent has contacted me to investigate this. So I'm currently working on this right now. This student that wrote on Black Lives Matter and said that conservatives should be put in concentration camps actually received an A and got the extra credit. So that's a case I'm currently working on in my PI business. So even though critical race theory is banned from Arizona, they're going to find a way around it. Because what you have is, if they can get to the children, then they've got the next generation. And we're seeing that in our nation, not only in critical race theory, but in sex education. The perversion that some of the current Democrats elected on our state legislature, they want to teach sex education to your kindergartners. Mr. Tony Navarrete was just expelled or resigned from the state legislature because he was alleged, but he actually admitted to it on a phone call to the Phoenix police, that he basically was performing oral sex on a little boy. And so there's a video out there that I have on my Twitter, at Anthony Kern AZ, that he was promoting, him and other Democrat legislators were promoting sex education for kindergartners. I know, since I've been at the legislature, and you remember, Jay, working together down there, that there was bills in the House that mandated sex education for kindergartners.
And we fought that.
Well, basically, we held it because we're a Republican-controlled legislature. And thank God we are, because that's the kind of garbage that the Democrat Party wants to put out there. They'll say, no, we don't, no, we don't. You all remember the infanticide bill that, we as Republicans decided to put it out there because a lot of this stuff the public doesn't know. The Republican majority in the House put it out there, and the Democrats just ran like, sewer roaches when the light was turned on. I don't want my name on that. And that was the infanticide bill, where if a baby is a botched abortion and that baby is born alive, you are able to make a decision to let that baby die. So, I mean, it's crazy out there. They want the minds of your children. They want the minds of your children. If they can get the minds of your children, sorry, I tapped on the table, but if they want the...
You've been tapping on the table. All of a sudden you notice.
Okay, I'm not going to tap on the table anymore.
Our guest is Anthony Kern. He's running for the Senate in the state of Arizona. My name is Jay Lawrence, and I'm glad you're here.
When it comes to roof work, people ask, do you know a guy? Let me save you a little time and money. Call me. I'm Lori Clark, owner of Right Way Roofing. Our family started in the roofing business in 1963 on the promise, there's only one way, the right way. We protect your roof with thick, waterproof, rubberized asphalt, not felt paper. So when it's time to repair or replace your roof and you need a guy, I'm your girl.
We're Right Way Roofing and we do it right. We'll always keep you watertight.
You have a great business, terrific products, outstanding services, so where is everybody? It's simple. They don't know you're here. Why not? We didn't tell them. Well, let me introduce you to the Media Maven. She is the expert in getting your advertising message to the right people in the right places for the right prices. She can make your business a household name. She can make this claim because she's been doing this for years for large and small businesses. You need an expert who knows who to talk to and how to make the best deal for your business. She has the right radio and television contacts for your budget, whatever it is. That's Kathy, the Media Maven. She can put you on the map, the one that leads to success and prosperity. Call Kathy, the Media Maven, at 602-524-0947. That's Kathy, the Media Maven, at 602-524-0947.
I'm Senator Sonny Borelli, and when I come to Phoenix, I always want to be informed, so I tune in to Hub Radio Phoenix. You want to be informed? I suggest you do the same. Make sure you tune in.
Are you tired of the long lines and impersonal service you get at the post office? Well, we have a solution for you. Pack Mail is an all-in-one mail center conveniently located in the Fry Shopping Center at 3218 East Bell Road, right here in Phoenix. Owned and operated by Arizona residents Mark and Vicky Battaglia, you can be sure of getting personalized professional service. They will pack, crate, freight, and ship your items anywhere in the world. They work with all the major carriers like DHL, UPS, USPS, and Federal Express. Need an address for your home business or startup company? They have P.O. boxes on site where you can receive and pick up your mail anytime, and their knowledgeable and courteous staff will find a way to ship that awkward or heavy item. You can even have your packages picked up and delivered for a small fee. Their motto is, if you can imagine it, we can ship it. Drop in on the good folks at Pack Mail and let them do the work for you. Pack Mail can be reached at 602-971-2300 or email at info@weshipphoenix.com. That's Pack Mail, 602-971-2300 or info@weshipphoenix.com.
This is a commercial for an auto dealership. Well, not really. It's a commercial for a salesperson at an auto dealership. The dealership is Wright Toyota on Frank Lloyd Wright. The salesperson is Jason Carter. I want you to remember that name, Jason Carter. My wife and I have bought our last 6 autos from him. I've sent relatives and friends to see Jason at Wright Toyota. If you're financing, Jason will work with the finance department to get you the lowest payments. Jason, here's what you're looking for. He knows what's there on the grounds. He knows where to find the exact automobile for which you're looking. And there's no time limit to his service, so there's no insistence that you buy the automobile he shows you. If it's a new Toyota or a formerly owned auto, any brand, any label, please call Jason Carter, 480-299-6474. Jason Carter, 480-299-6474.
You're watching Jay Lawrence on Hub Radio Phoenix.
Hello, Hello, this is Laura Paxton with the Jay Lawrence Show Disaster Report. It's as if the whole world is on fire right now. In California, the Dixie Fire, 780 square miles have been burned, 500 houses destroyed, and it's only 1/3% contained. Siberia is the big story. Siberia's fires are bigger than all the other fires on Earth right now combined that are burning on 3 different continents, massive fires, due to these record heat waves that we're having. In Siberia, the big worry is the particulate matter that comes into the air, and the carbon deposits itself into the snow, darkening the snow, which attracts more heat, and then melt, which is another disaster waiting to happen. And there's a bunch of sand, I don't know if you know about this, blowing off the Sahara. It does every year, but it's extremely thick this year, which is good for the Atlantic Ocean and hurricanes forming, because they won't form in this kind of sand. Here at home at Yellowstone, luckily this week, not a lot of actions. A few earthquakes because of magma intrusion, but other than that, pretty quiet. Take time every day to be happy and enjoy your family and your life. Thank you very much. This is Laura Paxton with the Jay Lawrence Show.
I am very glad you're here tonight. I'm Jay Lawrence. Our guest is Anthony Kern, who's running for the state senate. That's a tough race, by the way. You're running against a man that I question as a Republican. I question Paul Boyer as a Republican. And he sat next to me. We've been friends. Well, not friends. We've known each other and been good associates for a long time. But he has stood in the way of some legislation in the Senate that surprises me.
Yeah, me too. And it's sad that that he has stood in the way of some really good legislation. You know, he's also promoted good legislation, and he's also a decent vote on like things like pro-life. So but I don't know what's happening in Mr. Boyer's life, or where he's at politically anymore. He endorsed a Democrat for the Glendale mayor, and thank God Jerry Wires won. He's a Republican for the Glendale mayor. And just yesterday, he endorsed a Democrat congresswoman up in New York, who's running against Elise Stefanik. I think her name is Bridie or Birdie or something like that. But she is a staunch anti pro-life person. She is very much in favor of abortion. She is very, very much in favor of taking away your Second Amendment rights, everything that the Democratic Party stands for right now. So I don't understand Mr. Boyer, why. I think philosophically he's losing it, and right now it's personality based only. So he is the only one standing in the way of enforcing these current subpoenas that have been placed on the Board of Supervisors, and he has said he's not going to vote anything for the audit anymore, the election audit. He is in favor of what the Board of Supervisors is doing, and he has not filed an LD20, Legislative District 20 in Phoenix. He has not filed so to date, but if he does, we're ready, and we're ready to win. Now, my opinion is in this, when Trump mentioned my name in the Save America Pact on July 22nd, he actually mentioned Paul Boyer prior to mine, and declared that Paul Boyer was a rhino, and that he was in the way of the election audit, and that he was being challenged by myself. And Paul Boyer took to the Twitter to basically go after President Trump. Again, President Trump, I mean, when you talk down to President Trump, or really any president, that's just not the right thing to do, in my opinion. So Mr. Trump didn't deserve that, and talk down to him about the border, about being kicked off Twitter. We all know what happened with Twitter. Twitter is censoring conservative candidates like myself, censoring conservative men like Jay Lawrence, and that's because they right now have the ability to do so without any penalties, and that needs to be changed at the federal level. So yeah, I mean, Mr. Boyer, I think, is just I don't have to run against him. I'm going to run a favorable campaign, tell people who I am, what I believe. I'm a conservative Christian that is running for the state house or state senate in LD20, which we all know is going to change here in the next few months. And I have seen the maps. It looks pretty good. And so we'll see what happens there once we see the final maps. But, I just want the people of Arizona to be served. And I do think that running and winning for the Arizona State Senate is the right thing to do.
Will we see the final maps before the election? Will they be? It won't go into effect before the election.
I think that I'm not clear on now that you say that, but I do think it will go into effect before the next election. I think January we should know pretty much what's going on, and these are maps for the next election. So who's ever in LD20 now, if the lines change and they end up in a different LD, we're out there collecting signatures. By the way, my website is votekern.com. You can reach me at Anthony@VoteKern. And, I would love support. I would love, we're trying to raise money. If you want to throw in a few dollars to our campaign, please go to Anthony@VoteKern.com and go to the donate button. But, we're running a good campaign. We're gearing up for everything, and we're
Tony,
collecting
you never
signatures.
finished your comments on critical race theory, and I wish you would.
Yeah, critical race theory, it is a Marxist move to pit races against each other. Bottom line. And so in other countries where socialism has come in, and I would urge, now I'm probably preaching to the choir, your audience, but if there's people out there that do not know what socialism is, do your homework, find out. This is not a new socialism. This is not an American socialism. I don't even know what that means. Socialism is socialism. It's where they get rid of the middle class, they have a poor class and the elite class. And that elite class runs everything, and they make themselves richer while they make you poor. Look, all you got to do is look at Venezuela. Look at what they're trying now to even do in Brazil. I mean, the CCP in China, that is real. They are involved. They are buying up a lot of property. The southern border. I'm probably going off a little bit from critical race theory, but I was thinking about this last night. If you say you love America, why would you keep our borders open? If you say you love America, why are you not protecting the citizens? I firmly believe the Democrat Party does not like America. America is the enemy. America is rich. This is what they believe. We are rich because we have taken from the poor nations and hoarded everything. That is absolutely not true. When you allow a human being to freely move, to freely speak, to freely create, we are made in the image of God. And the reason why, two reasons why we are the greatest nation ever in the history of mankind. One is because we were founded on Jesus Christ. And two, we have been allowed to freely create wealth, to freely live, to freely go where we want to go. And when you allow a human being to do that, it's endless on the positive impact that one human being can have on society, and that's why America is so great. And
I am disturbed. We are all disturbed by the open borders. The fact that they will allow as many non-citizens to enter this country, talk about COVID, and then say, your court date is in January, we'll see you then. And they never see them again.
Never see them again. So if you're so concerned, government, about COVID, shut the southern border down. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people coming across. We do not know if they have COVID or not. We do not know if they have gotten the shot or not. But yet you're mandating Americans to get the shot, and yet at the same time allowing the southern border completely open and people to come across. Bottom line is it's a voting block, and what they want to do is open the southern borders. They're transporting these illegal aliens into places like Arizona, Texas, Florida. Why? They want to flip those states. Back in the 1990s, I remember when Virginia was a solid red state. I remember when Colorado was a solid red state. They have slowly allowed these illegal immigrants to move into these places, turning them blue, and that's their agenda. If they flip Texas, we're done. If they flip Florida, we're done, and that's their intent. They're smart at what they're doing. So they're allowing these people to come in. They allow them voting rights. They give them a driver's license, like California did, sanctuary cities, and then they flip the state, turn it blue, and their agenda moves forward. So we've got to stop the southern border. And again, I want to just put this out there. These candidates, Republican candidates, that are out there screaming and hollering about the southern border. I could name you, but I'm not going to. Where were you? These same candidates, many of them, were not anywhere near Donald Trump in November of 2020. President Trump had the border fixed.
Yes, he did.
But yet, these Republicans were not behind Donald Trump. They certified the election. And now they're screaming, I'm going to send the National Guard down to the border. Okay, I applaud. But the bottom line is, where were you with President Trump?
Our guest is Anthony Kern, a candidate for the state Senate. I'm Jay Lawrence, and I'm glad you're here tonight.
You have a great business, terrific products, outstanding services, so where is everybody? It's simple. They don't know you're here. Why not? We didn't tell them. Well, let me introduce you to the Media Maven. She is the expert in getting your advertising message to the right people in the right places for the right prices. She can make your business a household name. She can make this claim because she's been doing this for years for large and small businesses. You need an expert who knows who to talk to and how to make the best deal for your business. She has the right radio and television contacts for your budget, whatever it is. That's Kathy, the Media Maven. She can put you on the map, the one that leads to success and prosperity. Call Kathy, the Media Maven, at 602-524-0947. That's Kathy, the Media Maven, at 602-524-0947.
When it comes to roof work, people ask, do you know a guy? Let me save you a little time and money. Call me. I'm Lori Clark, owner of Right Way Roofing. Our family started in the roofing business in 1963 on the promise, there's only one way, the right way. We protect your roof with thick, waterproof, rubberized asphalt, not felt paper. So when it's time to repair or replace your roof and you need a guy, I'm your girl.
We're Right Way Roofing and we do it right. We'll always keep you watertight.
This is a commercial for an auto dealership. Well, not really. It's a commercial for a salesperson at an auto dealership. The dealership is Wright Toyota on Frank Lloyd Wright. The salesperson is Jason Carter. I want you to remember that name, Jason Carter. My wife and I have bought our last 6 autos from him. I've sent relatives and friends to see Jason at Wright Toyota. If you're financing, Jason will work with the finance department to get you the lowest payments. Jason, here's what you're looking for. He knows what's there on the grounds. He knows where to find the exact automobile for which you're looking. And there's no time limit to his service. So there's no insistence that you buy the automobile he shows you. If it's a new Toyota or a formerly owned auto, any brand, any label, please call Jason Carter, 480-299-6474. Jason Carter, 480-299-6474.
You're watching Jay Lawrence on Hub Radio Phoenix.
It's along with our guest, Tony Kern. Tony, you were Rules Chair for a while in the House, and you received, if I recall, there were some people complaining about you as Rules Chair, where you said, no, that bill's not going up.
Yeah, and as Rules Chair, as you know, Jay, every bill comes through to your committee, and you do have, as Rules Chair, the power to say yay or nay on the bills, whether or not they proceed in the process. And there are ways around that. So a lot of the bills that came through, Republican bills, these are Republicans, they were just bigger government, more spending, and yeah, I got a lot of flack for killing, a lot of Republican bills that were, in my opinion, just continually expanding. I was probably the worst Rules Chair if you wanted to pass a bill in the history of the legislature. I had actually stopped, I think it ended up being in the 70s, I think 78 bills, and most of them, if not all of them, were actually Republican bills. And, we as Republicans, we stand up during election season and say we are for limited government. We are for, not spending all your money. But that is not true at the legislature. That is generally not true across the board. Because if the money's there, the party's going to spend it. I wish we would say, hey, the money's there. Let's go ahead and maybe give it back to the people. Let's go ahead and maybe get rid of some of these licensing fees. Let's go ahead and reduce the cost to the people. Now, we did get a flat tax. That's great. But, again, right now I'm focused on the election and the election integrity. But as rules chair, I did stop a lot of bills. I got a lot of people mad, which is probably one reason why in 2020 the Republicans also came after me. And I'm going to say this group because they were one of the groups. Americans for Prosperity. A lot of people think that's a conservative group. Yeah, they lean conservative, but they don't like President Trump. They said they were going to endorse me. They did not. And they actually, I think, single-shotted my campaign and was one of the reasons why I lost. Another group out in the Phoenix area is Greater Phoenix Leadership. Greater Phoenix Leadership is a group out there that wants to promote transgender teaching for our students. They want to promote, just things that, as a conservative, I am absolutely against. And I was told early on in the campaign that they're going to come out against me, and they came out against me. And the Democrat also in the district raised $1.5 million to try to, unseat me. So, it is what it is. But I blame it on the Republicans, actually.
As a legislator, are there bills that you look back at and say, I'm really proud of what I did? For example, Second Amendment legislation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of the very first bills I ran was a preemption. There was Flagstaff and Tucson, if I remember correctly. They were saying that if I was a Tucson resident, I could not transfer my firearm to, say, Jay Lawrence if he also lived in Tucson. I couldn't do that without getting some type of approval by the government of the city government of Tucson. Flagstaff was doing the same thing, so they were basically taking away our Second Amendment rights. The very first bill I ran and was signed by the governor was a preemption that the cities and towns could not do that. In Arizona, they had to follow the Second Amendment of the Constitution. Another bill that I'm very proud that I ran was removing the free speech zones in the universities, and that was, I remember years ago, I gave my life to Christ at 21 years old. And I belonged to a church out there called the Door Christian Center, and we used to go to Glendale Community College every July 4th, and we would basically street preach, and we would stand on a hill. We used to call it Mars Hill. If you're familiar with the Bible, you know what that means. We used to stand on this hill, and we would just kind of street preach and hand out literature, invite people to church, give them hope. Okay, and a lot of people liked it. They're like, yeah, this is cool, We weren't.
Judy and I, by the way, enjoyed our visits to your church.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
FreshStartAZ.com. Fresh Start in Peoria. That's where I go. And so anyway, back then then after a few years, we were told by the authorities at GCC that we had to move over to a free speech zone where you could say whatever you wanted. But the problem was it was like way on the other side of the campus, and nobody ever visited that area. So what's the point? And the problem is that that's a university, or that's a college, community college. My tax dollars go to that community college. That whole area is free speech zone. So I went ahead and ran a bill, and Alliance Defending Freedom was actually, they were actually doing legislation, or they were representing someone else. I forget which state, maybe Michigan, but they were representing someone in Michigan that actually was told to get off campus for handing out constitutions to students and faculty. So this was a good case. It was a good bill, and we were successful in removing free speech zones from universities and community colleges in Arizona.
You know that I'm an Air Force veteran. I was chairman of the Veterans Committee in the House of Representatives, and so veterans bills are important to me, and you did a very pro-veteran bill on PTSD.
Yeah, PTSD is an issue. It's an issue in the veterans and the law enforcement community, and anytime we can help our veterans and help our law enforcement, I think we should. And PTSD is something that needs to be looked at. In fact, in the law enforcement community, there's there's some stuff that I'm working on with the law enforcement officer up in the northern Arizona that we're looking at actually implementing in the curriculum. Hopefully, the teaching of PTSD, what symptoms to look for, and you know. So yeah, I was honored to do that, Jay. I was honored to be on that committee with you. You ran that committee real well as the chair of the Veterans Caucus and the Veterans Committee. And yeah, we miss you down there. And of course, I'm not down there now either, but we still miss you.
We miss you.
I miss you. Yeah, we miss you.
We had a good time.
We did have a good time.
We enjoyed ourselves.
We did.
Being in the majority is always, it's better to be in the majority than the minority.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that feels like in the minority, but...
And they were so angry so much of the time.
Yeah.
So I understand the vengeance motive now.
Yeah.
There recently was a problem, some speeches being made at a Trump rally.
Just recently in Phoenix, that was Turning Point USA.
Yes.
And our Turning Point Action, I think it was. Anyway, it was a great event, well attended. Packed house, thousands of people outside the venue. It was held at the old Dodge Theater downtown. I forget what it's called now. I never go downtown hardly anymore. But anyway, it's held at the old Dodge Theater, and great venue. President Trump is just fantastic. He sells out every time he goes anywhere. But yeah, there were some public speeches, and it was good. And then there was some booing going on, and I don't know if you want to talk about that, but.
It is unfortunate when any speaker, particularly a state senator, is booed.
Yeah.
I oppose that. If you don't like an individual, just don't vote for them.
Right.
But don't boo them.
Right.
That's not acceptable.
Yeah. And I was sitting in the front row. I was actually directly in front of President Trump, and I was there right in front of the podium when that happened. I wish it wouldn't have happened, honestly. I wish Michelle Ugenti-Rita would have been able to speak. I mean, she was the sponsor, and I'm not in favor of her as Secretary of State or whatever. I haven't made my mind up there yet. I'm actually leaning towards Mark Fincham for Secretary of State. But Michelle Ugenti-Rita was the sponsor of the ballot harvesting bill a few years ago that the United States Supreme Court just unanimously approved. I think it was unanimously.
Yes.
And and I was happy to sign on there as a co-sponsor onto that bill. It was just unfortunate that that happened. It happened, and I think Michelle, she walked off there, okay, but I think she's done some mistakes since then as far as going after the audit. That's a no-no, and the election audit is absolutely the main thing right now. Every candidate should be focused on that audit. And I really think, Michelle, we need your vote in the state Senate. We need you to pony up should there be a vote on enforcing these subpoenas. So, I know philosophically Michelle Ugenti-Rita is conservative, but I wasn't in favor of the booing. I did not boo, but she had a rift with one of the other senators, and
Kelly Townsend.
You got to know
Kelly Townsend is a very popular.
She's popular.
Legislator.
Yes. And you and I know the politics of what happens down at the legislature. Sure. There's, if you're chair of a committee, I was rules chair for a couple of years, and I would stop people's bills, and they would come to me and say, well, I'm just going to go around you. And I'm like, well, that's the rules. You can do that. If you want to strike that bill onto something else, go ahead. I'm just not going to push your bill through because I think it's a bad bill. And so they would do that. And but some people
complained enough so that the speaker spoke to you about the bills
a few times. But the speaker was really good about letting me be the rules chair. And he would come to me a few times and say, Anthony, why are you holding this bill? And I would explain to him, and he'd say, okay. And so I don't think he ever said you need to push this bill through. So but sometimes chairmen and chairwomen get their feelings hurt, and they deliberately stop a bill. And I think that happened in this case. I think Michelle Ugenti-Rita has maybe fatally hurt her campaign for Secretary of State. And I know I won't be voting for her, not because of that, but because I think Mark Fincham's a better candidate.
We're out of time. Tony Kern, thank you so much. Tony is running for the state Senate And I'm Jay Lawrence. I will see you all
Thank
next
you, Jay.
week.
Appreciate you. Thank you, brother.